It's Wednesday, July 22nd, 2020. I'm Rim.
I'm Scott.
And this is Geek Nights. Tonight, we are talking about the post-Adventure Time, continuing Adventure Time, Distant Lands, Episode 1, BMO. Yeah, there's 4 people watching. All right.
Boy, people.
Got a thing of the day? Or not a thing of the day, an opening bit of some kind? I don't want to talk about biking again.
Talk about fruit.
Oh, you got some fruit? I got a little bit of fruit. If you start with fruit, I got some fruit to follow up.
Got some fruit.
Because I also got some fruit.
All
right, you can start anytime. Start with your fruit bit.
All right, so it's that time of the year when certain fruits are in season.
The stone fruits, the melons.
That's right. So we've been getting some. So the last time we ordered some fruit to be delivered, right? Because first of all, in New York City, you can get any kind of fruit, but if you go to the grocery to buy fruit, usually it's not the highest quality, perfect timed fruit. It's usually like unripe, too ripe, not local, right? You can get some good stuff at the farmer's market. You can get some good stuff actually in Chinatown or
weirdly enough, Fresh Direct is usually really good about that because they actually tell you how good the fruit is, and they're crazy stingy with that 5-star.
Kinda, but so we got some Fresh Direct fruits, right? So last time our Fresh Direct fruits, we were like, we don't know which fruit's gonna be good. Let's get a couple yellow peach and also some donut peach.
Well, how many stars were on that website? That's the key.
Whatever. We got 2 regular peach and 4 donut peach, and they all showed up, and they were all kind of hard, right?
Yeah.
And so we waited a little bit till they were perfect, and we ate them right away.
Oh, they became perfect. This was not the story of they went from hard to blackened.
No. And then the donut ones got perfect. We ate those right away.
Yep.
We decided the yellow ones were a little bit better than the donut ones. We also got a tiny watermelon.
We got a really good tiny watermelon the other day.
So the tiny watermelon was okay, but then after is better, after cutting it open and letting it be in the fridge for a day or two.
We left ours in the fridge for a couple weeks, and when we finally cracked it open, it was one of the better watermelons I've had. Like, not top 10, but definitely top 50.
We only had ours sit around for maybe less than 1 week before we opened it. Anyway, so we ordered some more. We're like, okay, well, we like the yellow peach better. Let's order 4 yellow peach instead of 2, and no donut peach. And let's order some, cut up watermelon because we're lazy.
That's fair.
So the cut up watermelon comes in 4 separate plastic containers. It's like, why?
Is it just one watermelon that they cut up?
We ordered the minimum amount. So it's like, shouldn't the minimum amount be one of these containers, not 4 of them?
Because I can order like a 1/4 pound of deli meat from them, and they will send me this tiny package with like 2 slices of meat.
Right, exactly. And then, so the peaches, right? So we had ordered yellow peaches, and we got 2 normal size ones, right? And that was right? So we ordered 4, and we ordered the exact same thing on the website. We checked. It was like a reorder. It was the exact same item, right? Yellow peach, whatever, right? Yep. They sent us 4 enormous ones.
Oh.
Like bigger than an orange. Like huge peaches. So big, I couldn't even eat a whole one. We had to cut it in half and split it up when it finally got soft, right? So we've eaten 3 of the 4, but it's like, if I knew that they were going to be this big, I would have only gotten 2.
You should have made some cobbler.
But yeah, we had to basically, again, though, they sent them to us hard, and I basically, every day I would wake up and poke them.
Nah.
And then I think it was 2 days ago, I was like, oh, eat them now, hurry up.
We did that. We got a bunch of black plums in
I was like, eat these today.
And every day in the morning, I'd open the fridge, I'd poke every black plum, and as soon as one of them was squishy, I ate it instantly.
Okay.
The weird thing is they came in a group of 4, and they ripened on 4 different non-consecutive days.
Oh, wow, it's raining a whole bunch suddenly.
Oh yeah, there's a big storm coming. There's going to be storms and crap all weekend, it looks like.
Okay. Oh, I wanted to bike this week.
I might just bike anyway. It's scattered storms. You can get away with it. The thing is, the heat wave's still going. It's not going to cool off at night. It's like 95 during the day and 79 in the middle of the night.
No. It says here Saturday, 75 to 89 clear, and Sunday, 79 to 94 clear.
That is a radical change from what I was looking at literally a little while ago trying to plan a bike ride.
It also says rain through Friday though. So Friday or super early on Friday, like 2 a.m. The rain will stop.
I see Friday scattered thunderstorms in the morning. All right, yeah, and then Friday evening, Saturday, Sunday looks good.
All right, so I'm gonna do some biking anyway.
Yeah, but Sunday it's gonna be 95 degrees, heat index of 104. So
the point is, right, as shitty as Florida is for just about everything, I still remember when I went to Florida and we went to this place near my grandma's house called the Boys Market.
You've told me this story like 10 times, but it's like the mango stories.
There, right? Every fruit there was so cheap and always just like perfect and incredibly delicious. It's like,
well, like when I was in Thailand and I grabbed a banana, I bit into it, and my mouth just said, whatever this is, you've never had a banana like this. This is the God banana.
It's like but like they didn't have, I guess they did have weird fruits there,
yeah.
But we were just buying normal fruits, cantaloupe.
Yeah, well, like when in Costa Rica, like I remember, like I always kind of like mangoes, but the first time I was in Costa Rica and I ate a mango that had been like recently just picked, that was a transcendent experience. I think back to that mango.
Right, why can't we just fucking ship it faster?
Well, if climate change gets bad enough, we'll just grow them here.
Well, sure, that'd be good. But
well, good in some way. That is definitely a silver lining on a fire. That's
like
not a storm cloud.
Here.
That's a fire cloud.
The thing is, we have apple here. Apple's our thing, and we go, and a lot of times you go eat an apple right off a tree, and sometimes it's not that good.
Yeah. Apples are pretty variable unless you get like particularly good apples, but the particularly good apples, the truth of the universe that I've learned as I became older is that the better the product of a plant tastes, the more fiddly that plant is, and the more care and effort and nonsense you have to do to make it not die and to make it produce the thing you want.
I just want to remind everybody, though, that also in addition to fruit, right now is the time of corn. So the thing about corn is like you can make an incredibly delicious meal that is like easier than like some crappy microwave food. Just get yourself a fucking ear of corn, right? Take the ear of corn, remove the husk that shit, right? Cut that shit in half if you need to, because in case it's too long, it don't fit in your pot, right?
Boil it a little bit.
Put some salty ass water in the pot.
Not salt potato level, but like put a bunch of salt in there.
Put a bunch of salt in that water. Boil that shit. Put the corn in that boiling water for literally 5 minutes, like exactly 5 minutes. Then just take the corn out, put butter on, and eat it. That's all you gotta do. And it's fucking delicious corn, and you feel like you cooked.
Yep.
And now is the only time you can do that, because if you wait too long, it won't be good corn. There'll be shitty corn.
Yep. I mean, you can even eat that corn raw, and it's pretty good. I've eaten raw corn off the cob with particularly good sweet corn. I do like it raw with that corn on the cob.
It raw.
Raw corn cob.
Old dirty Rim likes the corn raw.
Wow, that just evoked Adam Sandler-esque high school memories. That was a very listening to Adam Sandler when you're like 14 and a freshman in high school. So there is a bunch of anime news actually, but the one you're probably all going to be interested in is Aggretsuko.
Yeah, so Aggretsuko, for some reason, Netflix had a season 1. And then they had a season 2, and it's like, oh, look at that! What a surprise!
And season 2 was just like better done. Like they made it very solid.
I didn't watch it, but I was planning to watch it. It's in my queue.
So it's got an Elon Musk character in it.
Oh, are they the bad guy?
It's complicated. Watch your show.
Great. The point is, surprise! This actually was a surprise. I thought Aggretsuko was done for. Nope, season 3, it's coming.
Well, I think it's gotten a lot of like. It's a pretty good show. Like it's not great, but I like it. I watched all of it. I'll keep watching it. But and generally like anime fans like it to a degree, but they're not like going crazy over it. They're not like getting tattoos of it like they do Attack on Titan or whatever the flavor of the month is.
Tattoo somewhere.
I'm sure, but not the weeb level. More like I see a lot of people who don't watch a lot of anime, but just watch Netflix. Like people who don't even really think about anime getting really into this show because it's got a perfectly good dub. It's just on Netflix. And a lot of what goes on in the show really speaks to the kinds of problems that a lot of people run into in their actual offices.
It is a combo there, right? So, it's not like Detroit Metal City, which is, the unexpected character is a death metal person, right? But it's, it's office humor plus, right? It gets all the layers in Aggretsuko. We did a show on Aggretsuko. You can go listen to it.
Yeah, we did it. The thing
I
is,
don't know if anything in that show, and if anything in that episode I said was any good.
You
but
were
we did
not
one.
into that show in that review. Like, you were really down on Aggretsuko.
I don't remember at all.
Well, I
did watch
listened
the
to it
whole first
recently
season.
because I took the review itself out of the whole Geek Nights episode and made a YouTube video that I haven't published yet as part of that pipeline with the standalone reviews. And I noticed the review was only like 9.5 minutes long. So I went to listen, and it's basically you being like, yeah, Aggretsuko ain't that good. I don't know if I'll even watch the rest of it. Why, at the end, I can review it from one episode.
Oh, okay.
I
mean, that's also true, is that anyway,
Yeah.
There is something else, though, I want to say about some Netflix anime, right? So we did an episode on the not-so-great Ghost in the Shell 2045, right?
Yep. So one person tried to come at me and say that the writing is just as good as Standalone Complex, and we're just hating on it because of the animation.
Whatever that person said is wrong.
I disagree with that. That writing is bad.
I did watch all of the shows.
Whoa, wait, why?
Because I was thinking there, and I was like, you know what? This thing really isn't that long, right? It's only 12 episodes.
True. Maybe you could glean something out of it. Like,
I've already watched a third of it. I bet no one else has watched a third of it, has watched all of it, right?
You know, I can see there's a point you make there too. The show, even if it's bad, if it has even like the barest glimmer of some of the parts I like from Standalone Complex, the juice might be worth the squeeze.
No, it's not.
No?
No. So, I was like, hey, maybe if I watch to the later episodes, right? I was thinking maybe there'll be something so ridiculous there that I could post it on the internet, and because no one else has seen it.
Because no one's posted anything but the naked guy backflipping backwards up the stairs. So
yeah, that's in an early episode.
It has to be crazier than that.
So I can tell you that basically the rest of the show is, basically once they get back to Japan, they make Section 9, and it becomes much more episodic, trying to find the whatever they are called. I don't even remember, the
Fortnite players and the whatever that show.
Yeah,
is just
the people
not
with the super strong, transhuman people, right?
Oh,
and
yeah.
the ones they find aren't nearly as strong as that first one. That first one they found, the naked guy, was super dangerous, right? The ones they go after they get back to Japan are not even remotely as dangerous.
That doesn't work. Standalone Complex, part of why it was good was that the threat they were facing was an entire government and military.
Sure. They introduce a character who is basically a very anime yay character who stays in the office and works at the Tachikomas and does computer stuff and makes mischief and whatever. It's an annoying character.
Yeah.
But what I do want to tell you is that the episode, someone told me, oh, you got to get episode 7. Something about episode 7. So episode 7 is basically the only episode with any glimmer of Ghost in the Shell standalone complex quality, right? So here's what happens in episode 7, is that it's basically Bato is going back to Japan on a plane alone, ahead of everyone else. He's going back first, right?
All right.
And he gets a little helicopter ride, and in the helicopter ride is the introduction of that annoying characters, but it's brief, so you can see what that annoying character is, right?
Get a little taste, inoculate yourself.
Right, get a little taste so you know what that character is going to be a prominent character in the show going forward, and then they leave and they're not in the rest of the episode, so you can just get that information, and the rest of the episode is Bato goes to the bank to deposit / launder his illicit gains.
Other people have told me about this episode.
From mercenary work, right? And someone else tries to rob the bank, and the whole episode is Bato trapped in the bank with the old people who are the only ones who go to the bank anymore, and the bank robbers.
That feels a lot like Aramaki's Cellar kind of episode.
Or
the Pachinko Parlor episodes.
It is exactly like that kind of episode, but only Bato's in it. So I'll
watch that episode.
Right. If you have not watched Ghost in the Shell 2045, all you need to know is that all the characters were in the U.S. doing mercenary work, and they're now on their way back to make Section 9 again. And Bato is going to the bank with his money that he made being a mercenary. And you don't need any other information to understand this episode. And you don't need, and this episode will also not make you curious about any of the overall plot of this whole 12 episode thing because it's a standalone episode.
Oh, standalone, you say? So,
indeed.
Is the annoying character
wording.
that pink-haired Purin Izaki?
Yes.
Okay, because when I Googled for SAC 2045 episode 7, just to see some screenshots while we're having this conversation, what immediately comes up is this meme that shows that character with an X through their face, and it just says, "No more Purin Izaki. Society has progressed past the need for Purin Izaki." I feel like anime has progressed past the need for this kind of character in a show.
It is a very...
It feels like a very 90s anime, annoying, cute sidekick that gets a bunch of over-sexualized merch character.
She's not sexualized in the show.
Oh, she'll be sexualized in the merch, I guarantee it.
I'm sure she will be, but it's basically like, yeah, she's this super smart girl, but she has a very, anime personality. Stereotypical anime, yay, personality, right?
Yeah, I think anime has progressed past the need for that.
Yes. So there you go.
So speaking of a show that I watched, I mentioned this a couple times because I was watching it with Emily, but Kipo and the Age of Wonder Beasts. It's just on Netflix. Like, we're just kind of watching it between all the other shows we're watching, but we finished it. There's 2 seasons out. We watched them both all the way to the end, and the show is definitely worth watching. It's a DreamWorks television animation. It's aimed at kids. It starts out kind of like She-Ra, a super kids show, but it actually does a much more complex plot than I expected. Like, what's the deal with the burrows and the humans underground, and I'm not going to spoil anything, but for a kids show, this went way further and way darker than I would have ever expected. And also, the vast majority of the human characters that get any screen time are not white.
Mm-hmm.
There's no white people in this show.
That's nice.
And otherwise, if you haven't checked this show out, this is the last time I'm going to speak about it because I've mentioned it several times along the way. Having seen the end of season 2, they have definitely set up a season 3, but they have also answered all the questions you had from season 1 and 2. So if there never was a season 3, you're not going to be tearing your hair out trying to figure out what the deal was with anything.
I notice a lot of Netflix shows are following that pattern of wrap up your plot and leave room for another season, but don't guarantee another season. Most recently, BNA did that.
Yep, Dragon Prince did that.
The Dragon Prince seems to always do that.
Yep, and with one exception, Dragon Prince did not answer shit about what's the deal with their dad in that bird that escaped. They just dropped that thread.
Really? I mean, it was so obvious that the dad is in the bird.
Yep, and they just dropped that. They
foreshadowed it so heavily.
It's like Chekhov's gun, and then someone sneaks on stage and steals the gun, and then the play ends.
I'm mad. All I wanted was Dad Bird.
Yeah, because also that dad is pretty hot and probably
you foreshadowed it. Just let it go.
Yeah.
Let them learn magic and take the dad out of the bird and put him in a new body. Come on.
Yep. Or just have him come back and show up at the end of the show.
Right. They go to the dragons. The dragons, they make friends with them. Then the dragons help them get dad out of the bird. The end. All right, come on. That's what I want. Anyway.
Yeah, Kipo's worth watching. And all I got to say is, you think you know what the deal is with these humans, and it is not what you think, and it's pretty good what the actual story is.
All right. That's nice.
Some other news, I think we mentioned this before too, but the Virtual Crunchyroll Expo is coming up September 4th through 6th. We will be doing a panel at it. Probably a highly evolved new form of our Judge Anime panel, not aimed at you, the listener, who know the deal with us, but at people who don't necessarily know about us, because we haven't really been going to anime cons for so many years now, for a lot of reasons. This will actually be our first anime con since I think 2014? Maybe 2015 at the latest?
Maybe.
Yeah, I had to go dust off anime content.
Actually, the thing of the day I sent you will be used as a thing of the day, but I just remembered a better thing of the day. Yeah.
Uh-oh. Yep. Scott's got a better thing of the day, sneaking it in right before it's time for Things of the Day. All right, Scott, I'm not even going to look at the link until after we record the show.
All right, so you go to an anime con when we did that back in the day. And you go to everyone's favorite place, the dealer's room.
Yep.
And there's certain kinds of dealers in the dealer's room.
There's
right?
the one booth selling just a pile of cells, and there's a bunch of old people looking at those cells, and they're all like $500 each.
Right. There's the booth that's just selling manga, walls of manga.
Yep.
Right.
There's the booth that has like old broken crap, and then discount bins full of VHS tapes under it.
Yep. DVD guy, right?
Yep.
Nothing. There's the
swords, the sword booth. Just here's swords.
Sword booth, right? And there's a certain kind of booth, right? That sometimes is not even a booth. Usually, it's more often go to a standalone anime store that's been around a long time, right? Where they've got the old stuff. Right, we're talking like old dusty Godzilla figurines, that sort of old, that kind of booth. That's the kind of booth where you won't buy anything, but you'll spend a lot of time looking at that booth, and they'll have like an actual Akira T-shirt from the '80s for $100.
Yep,
and shit like that, right? That kind of booth. Well,
it's more like a museum.
Exactly, but I found, I'm sure this has been around for a long time and I just didn't know about it. There is a store called Kimono My House Toys. They're on, I guess their Instagram and their eBay site are basically their website. And basically that's what they are, they are the super old dusty anime merch. Lots of Gundam, lots of Ultraman, lots of Godzilla, lots of... lots of Galaxy Express, Yamato, Captain Harlock, Astro Boy, all, the old stuff, right? That's the kind of stuff that they got at that store. Speed
That's
Racer
my kind of stuff.
Right,
Don't buy any of that stuff.
No. Well, you can go to their eBay and buy it, because I presume their store is not open to that many customers these days. But just follow them, peruse their Instagram account to get that experience of going to one of those booths at an anime con, since you can't go to anime con right now, right? You can get that experience of the old dusty booth, and you can maybe even buy stuff if you really want to. But you can also just follow them on Instagram, and you'll constantly get posts from them as they post photos of their stuff. For example, Mr. T wearing an Akira t-shirt, or a whole bunch of Akira pins and Lensman pins on a board. Or the San Diego Comic-Con 1992, t-shirt, or this giant pile of old Disney stickers. Who knows if they're still sticky, but I kind of want one.
Yeah.
All kinds of great stuff on this Instagram from this store. So there you go.
So this is a Twitter thread, but it's a pretty dense Twitter thread of exactly what you want to see without any text or anything in the way. It's just a long thread you can just scroll down and enjoy. It is just a whole bunch of photos of Soviet bus stops from all over the Soviet Union. And the reason why these are so cool is something I only learned about recently.
I feel like I've seen these before or talked about them on the show before.
I think we've seen a few of these before.
Because I've definitely seen some of these before in my life. They are familiar to my eyeball.
Yeah. I hope I didn't reuse it. I did a search and didn't find a thing of the day.
There was a Kickstarter for a Soviet bus stop book, apparently. Did we talk about? We might have talked about.
Talked about that book. But basically, this is just an archive of all these photos. But what I learned from this thread is why specifically Soviet bus stops are so crazy compared to a lot of other Soviet architecture that's so utilitarian and samey. What it came down to is the central government didn't give a shit what bus stops looked like. Like, they didn't care at all. So when they told a local area to make bus stops, the local area had complete discretion to do whatever they wanted. And they tended to get architects who wanted to just go crazy and do something cool. And as a result, they are so radically different. Like, every area of the Soviet Union has radically different styles of the things that the central government didn't care about. So if you want to find cool stuff on the internet, try to find more examples of things that were very important to the Soviet Union, but where the government of the Soviet Union did not have any particular ideological concerns about the nature of said thing.
What I find really interesting is that, you look historically, right? And the very Milton Friedman capitalism is freedom people, right? Are always like, if the government is paying for the art and controlling the art, it's like, It's like you won't be able to print any sign you want if the government owns the printing press, right? The government's paying for the art. You're gonna get,
Meanwhile,
government
have you
propaganda
ever seen
art.
a cool bus stop in America? Like anywhere?
Well, what I'm
ever?
saying though is, if you look at the art that is produced by governments paying for it, even if that art is propaganda, like Soviet stuff often was.
Yep.
It's often fucking cool, and no matter what country it's in, evil country or good country or anywhere in between, right? It's like
if an artist is paid a living wage to make something, they'll try to do a good job and won't have the existential crisis on top of them.
Look at the mosaics you get in like New York City subway stations, right? Even North Korean shit, which is it at least all those propaganda posters look cool, even though they're all it's awful, but it's right. It's like when government pays money. Look at all the Canadian animation. The government pays people to make art. K-pop is the government paying people to make art, right? All K-pop people are getting government money.
Do you understand how good Geek Nights would be if the government just paid us to make it?
Right. Imagine if the government was paying podcasters because they felt that podcasts were an important thing to have, and we applied for a government thing and they were sending us cash. It's like, oh man, we would be killing it. Right?
Yeah, I would start doing a lot of things that I do not do today.
Right. So it's, any kind of government-funded art is like, government funding for the arts. PBS, right? Come on. It's all good shit.
Sorry, I'm a little distracted. The thunder outside is actually getting pretty intense.
I'm watching lightning hit the buildings in Manhattan.
Yeah, so it's a good time. Good time for a storm. Hopefully it doesn't interrupt the stream suddenly.
We'll see.
All right. Meta moment. We're stuck at home. Can't go anywhere, like I said. So stay tuned. You'll see us at PAX Online, the MagFest Online stuff. You're going to see us at the Crunchyroll Online Expo. You're going to see our stuff on the internet. We're working on pipelines to make the kind of stuff that's hard to make when we can't get together in person. So stay tuned for all that. We are currently not reading The Tale of Genji because don't have a lot of free time, don't have a lot of travel time. Like normally I'd read that book on the bus or the train or the subway, but not going anywhere. I'm not going to read it while I'm biking.
The excuse is stronger when you say the same excuse every episode, every time. It's just like it works better.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? It's like if you keep making a different excuse, it's like, these are excuses. But
you're just Jake from the Blues Brothers. There was an earthquake.
Same excuse every episode of Geek Nights for a year. We just keep saying the same reason we haven't read the book club book. And while we're encouraging other people to read the book club book.
Oh, that was a big thunder.
I saw the big lightning hit a building in LIC.
Yeah, it shook our windows a little bit.
It was a big boy.
Yep, I could feel it. All right. So yeah, all that aside, meta moment, but one thing I want to bring up because the news, I just caught this while I was looking at my thing of the day. The federal government in the United States is sending more of those Gestapo stormtrooper things to Chicago, like right now. So go.
Good luck, Chicago.
Yep, Chicago. Good luck. When they come here, we'll be ready for them. So I hope you guys are ready. Stay safe out there. But I'm going to link to this news in the episode too, because this is escalating rapidly and this is way more important than the nerdy stuff we're about to talk about. Mm-hmm. So the nerdy stuff we're about to talk about. Adventure Time ended. It ended a while ago. It ended perfectly. Like Adventure Time was a fantastic, transformative show that probably will be a cornerstone of like the history of animation in America. There's a lot. We've said a lot about Adventure Time over the years, but it ended. It was done.
No, there's still other Adventure Time stuff. There is technically the comics are actually doing that shtick where they're like Adventure Time season whatever, right? But
I do enjoy that shtick a little bit, even though it's a bit corny.
But I think they basically gave up on that, right? It's like I think that was a news, if I remember. Like they started it and they're just like, no one bought it. All right.
But Adventure Time continued with, there are 4 episodes, HBO Max. We talked about this being announced a while ago. They're 4 like hour-ish long, brand new episodes.
Yeah, they're longer than a regular episode, but they're not that long. They're not even 90 minutes.
Yeah, they're like take 3 or 4 Adventure Time episodes that have a contiguous plot and just ram them all together. They're almost the equivalent of like the Island episodes or like the Elemental episodes, like those miniseries that they did along the way, just condensed into one long episode.
So it has been revealed that episode 1, which is out, you can watch it, so we're going to talk about.
Yep, we just watched it.
It's about BMO. The next episode, who knows when it's going to come out, it's unannounced, is going to be about Princess Bubblegum and Marceline.
Yeah, it's called Obsidian. The
the Glass Kingdom or something.
Yep.
I don't know.
Well,
The
they
third
mediate on their relationship while on a mission to the Glass Kingdom. It's basically
Sure.
what you all want, what the show didn't get to until the very end.
The third one, well, the one I want the most, is Peppermint Butt
Hell
going to
yeah.
wizard school to relearn evil magic in Wizard City.
Wizard City is my favorite part of Adventure Time.
Oh yeah, and then the last one is Finn and Jake doing something again, right?
Yep, together again as they... Now, what's interesting is it says rediscover their brotherly bond, implying that something might have broken that bond at some point.
Who knows when in the Adventure timeline the episode takes place?
Yes,
right?
because not to spoil anything, but BMO does not take place when I assumed it took place.
Right, we assumed, okay, these episodes are going to take place after the end of the TV show, but before the end of the TV show, right? Because basically the TV show has epilogues at the end that take place far in the future from the actual end of the plot of the main characters, and you would assume all 4 of these episodes are going to take place after the end of the TV show, but before the epilogue end of the TV show, right?
Well, especially because we know for a fact Wizard City takes place after, because it is reacting to events from the show.
Sure. But anyway, that is not necessarily the case, as we learned watching this. It could take place any time in the Adventure Time timeline, prequel, in the middle of the show, anywhere, right? But they are canon Adventure Time animations that are not ever before seen, and that is awesome that they're continuing to make these, and they're on HBO Max.
Yep, I definitely watched it on HBO Max and did not sail a high sea anywhere.
I did not pay.
Yar. All I will say is if you are not technologically savvy and you find this show somewhere and your media player tries to tell you to buy a codec, do not do that. Just find a different file. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Anyway, but point is HBO Max does have some good content on it. Like, it's actually worth watching, maybe, if that is the content you like the most. It's got Studio Ghibli stuff. It's got Cartoon Network stuff, obviously, right? It's got bits of the Criterion Collection. It's got some Crunchyroll stuff. There's all kinds of stuff on HBO Max.
Hanna-Barbera, Warner Brothers.
Yeah. It is not a bad thing to subscribe to if that's the one you're going to subscribe to. But I'm on Netflix right now, and I don't do 2 at a time.
Well, I'm on Netflix, Crunchyroll.
I actually haven't watched any Crunchyroll in a long time. I should turn it off and turn it on again. The problem is I always get this annual Crunchyroll to save money, and I do use it every year. I just don't use it every month I've
actually used it recently to get screen caps of anime we've reviewed to make those YouTube videos. Mm-hmm. So it actually is working out.
So yeah, but if you want to watch this legally, you can pay for HBO Max. I don't know if it's available anywhere else at all.
Pretty sure it's HBO Max exclusive.
If you have television, can you even watch this? If
no.
you have just cable TV and you watch HBO,
no.
Is it will it be on demand on your cable box or something?
I don't think so. I think it's only on HBO Max.
That's interesting. Anyway, the point is, it's Adventure Time. We watched it. Let's talk about what we watched.
Yep. We'll avoid spoilers. At the very end, we can talk a little bit about our thoughts on what it revealed about the universe. But it is really, really cute because they introduced this Rabbit Girl character, and it's basically this Rabbit Girl and BMO going around on a space station that's falling apart while
BMO
evil
is out
Elon
in
Musk tries to destroy it.
Right. BMO's out in space on a mission. BMO ends up in a different world. The world is basically not a planet, but a space station sort of platform that has different domes that are connected, and the different domes have different habitats in them. And clearly, the people on the domes, there's crab people and robot people.
And there's crab people, robot people, elves,
people,
and bunny people, and then a whole bunch of minor races that are also hanging out there. It's definitely a cosmopolitan space city.
Yeah, there's some those
bug guys,
plants, monsters.
I love the little bug guys.
Yeah, all kinds of space shit is going on there, right? And so BMO ends up there via circumstances, and the shenanigans there that BMO discovers that the people there are fighting over resources because they're stuck on the station and there's certain rare resources that they're fighting over. And BMO gets involved in saving the day because it seems like most of the people there are sort of just content or compliant with their situation. And BMO is like, being BMO, seeing the injustice and being like, yeah, fight for adventure and.
But it's very interesting to show, because usually in Adventure Time, it's Finn and Jake or some other characters are the driving powerful forces, and BMO is either a cute sidekick or BMO is a catalyst, but they save the day. Obviously, there's exceptions to that. But in this case, BMO is the catalyst, but is also like the mentor driving forward the plot and dragging this other character along. It's a different, it's like an inversion of what often happens in Adventure Time episodes when BMO is involved.
Yeah, it's like BMO basically, sees like, hey, there's some BS going on. Let's fix it. Yeah.
Yippee-ki-yay. Kind of literally.
Yep.
You can sort of see like this is Sheriff BMO. BMO literally is like, well, I'm the sheriff of this town. And I love how a lot of the people BMO meets are just like, all right, I guess you're the sheriff. Sure.
Yeah. And in typical BMO fashion, BMO is simultaneously like playing while also, not playing. Right.
Yep. I love that duality of BMO all the time. BMO's playing games.
Well, because BMO is a toy, right? So BMO's about playing.
Yep. Right? But BMO's also special for the reasons we know from the show. Yep. And thus BMO is a literal catalyst for good.
Yeah, I think if you haven't watched Adventure Time, I don't know.
This would still be cute.
I guess you can watch this, but you would just, some things would be lost on you. One big one in particular.
Well, two, I can think of a couple of big ones that would be lost on you.
There's one I think that is vastly bigger.
Yeah, yeah. But there's also little things like football, like that.
Yeah,
you're right. Football is portrayed very well in this, and I really like how that played out. I think it would still work if you'd never seen Adventure Time, but it would make this...
Yeah, you wouldn't. You would be like, oh, I guess BMO has an imaginary friend whenever they look in a reflection. This is BMO's reflection is named football, and BMO talks to it. It's like, but yeah, BMO does that a lot in Adventure Time. Football is like a whole character, and here they don't bother to introduce football. It's just like, there's football. It's like it's written in a way where you're expected to know football, and so I think it's just the fact that it's just thrown there might be a little if you didn't know Adventure Time, possibly, or maybe not. It's not that big a deal to the plot.
I think what would happen is, especially
football shows up a few times,
or like the things with the lards and all that. Like, there's a lot of things.
That's true. The lards. Yeah.
Yep. This would feel a lot weirder and more abstract and crazy if you hadn't seen Adventure Time. But if you've seen Adventure Time, a lot of the more crazy things that happen are pretty mundane features of the Adventure Time universe.
Right. So lards are like these basically heads with big noses that float around that come in different shapes and sizes.
And they're kind of like mystical and immortal in regular Adventure Time. Like,
yeah, it's like they have they're like, they don't play a large part, but they're still a significant and important presence. And they sort of have a meaning to them, and they show up at certain times and places.
Yep.
But here, it's like, BMO lands, and there's a guy like lard farming, and they're going to eat lards or whatever.
Yep.
And it's like, if you haven't seen any Adventure Time, you're like, that means nothing to you. But if you have, it's like, oh shit, those are lards.
Yep. Like,
right? Now
I kind of know the deal with lards, like more so.
Yeah. But it's like, so that the impact of that same scene would be completely different. It wouldn't make it a meaningless watch to a non-Adventure Time knower, but that the impact of that is like, those are lards versus, okay, this guy's farming some space creatures. All right, I get it.
So before we get into some spoiler territory, the other notes I could point out is that there's a character, another robot, kind of a broken robot, Seago. You know who voiced Seago?
Nope.
Simone Gertz, the woman who makes the terrifying bad robots.
Oh, okay.
They reached out. She was is a huge fan of Adventure Time, and the creators of Adventure Time were like, we should get that person who makes bad robots to play our bad robot. And the bad robot person was like, I've always wanted to be an Adventure Time voice actor. Oh my God. So they made it happen.
Adventure Time seems to do that a lot, right? I think, John Hodgman's been an Adventure Time voice actor, and I think he voiced something in this because I heard his voice. I think he might have been one of the people fighting against the crab people in that scene. Maybe, I don't remember. But I definitely heard John Hodgman's voice in the show.
Yeah.
And also, who's the voice of Mabel in
Oh
Gravity
God,
Falls?
I always forget her name.
I always forget her name. I don't know what their name is.
Because she's in Adventure Time.
Yeah, I can look it up. But
She
yeah,
plays, I forget their names too, one of Jake's kids.
Yes, exactly. That person is.
But one thing I can say is that the voice acting
Kristen
in this...
Shaw, that's the person.
Yeah,
Kristen Shaw, yeah.
The voice acting...
I don't think I heard Kristen Shaw in this BMO thing, but I definitely heard John Hodgman.
The voice acting in this is really good. Like, the writing's good. Like, everything about it's good. It's 100% worth watching. It does a little bit of explain the plot at the very end, but it's so short, that part, that was a big thunder, that it doesn't really matter. Like, it's not a flaw, I would say. It just wraps up. Like, it could have had 10 more minutes to wrap up its plot, like, a little more smoothly. Instead, it sort of accelerates toward the end, and a few characters have their big moments pretty suddenly. But other than that, like, it's just fantastic. It was laugh out loud funny at multiple points.
Yeah, I mean, it's what you expect from Adventure Time. It's more Adventure Time. It gives you a lot of BMO if BMO is your favorite.
Yep, and it does nothing to undermine the perfect ending of Adventure Time. Right. Like, it's not like if they just made more Cowboy Bebop.
No. It's more good Adventure Time, but it's not, the lack of length. It could have, it's like they introduce a bunch of stuff, they wrap up all the stuff they introduce, and it's like, it's more like, okay, you love Adventure Time so much, you haven't had any in a while, you want more, here's an Adventure Time snack, and you're like, wow, that tastes just like Adventure Time, but I wanted an Adventure Time meal.
Yep, I just want more of this. If they kept making these forever, I just keep watching them.
Well, they're gonna make 3 more, right?
At least.
So it's like you're getting 4 snacks where when you want a meal, the snacks taste exactly what you expect them to taste like, right? They're good. You're not turning them down, right? You should eat them, but you still want meal.
Right.
That's what this is.
All right, so spoilers, because I want to talk about this assuming you've seen it. That was definitely Finn's dad. 100%. That is why he was in fucking space prison.
It is the voice acting of the same voice. As soon as I heard the same voice actor, I was like, that's Finn's dad.
Yep.
Plus, it was like Mr. M, and isn't Finn's dad named like Marty or something?
Well, also last name Mertens.
Mertens, that's it, right? Yeah.
Plus,
like I knew it was.
As soon as he gets out of that car and you see he's wearing those short shorts and like his like man spread leg posture.
As soon as he spoke a line of dialogue, I was like, "That's Finn's dad's voice," and then I was like, "Wait a minute, no, it's Finn's dad." Immediately I knew it.
And how he's kind of just a piece of shit the whole time.
He acted the way Finn's dad would act. Treated people the way Finn's dad treats people.
I like how it brought the Greys in too.
As soon as there was trouble, he got out of Dodge just like Finn's dad does.
Yep. I love how the plot was actually these were humans who escaped Earth.
Yep.
Like that little bit was fun too, especially because the villain literally is just like an Elon Musk who sent himself into space and is now just fucking shit up with capitalism.
Mm-hmm. So the interesting thing that's not quite completely answered, right? If we're going spoilers, is you start out BMO's on this mission to plant potatoes on Mars and gets pulled away by the maintenance robot that you do learn about what the deal was with that. But they don't explain BMO's potato mission. Who sent him on that mission?
Yeah, where did BMO get those potatoes or that spaceship?
Was BMO still with all the other Mo's, right? Did like Mo send BMO on a mission to plant potatoes on Mars? Who would send BMO on a mission to plant potatoes on Mars? Magic Man?
Because this is before Magic Man's transformation. This is before Finn and Jake. Like, they're still babies.
Who would have sent BMO into space, right? It's like Banana Man? Or it's like, what's the deal there? Right?
It was a pretty good spaceship too. Like it wasn't.
Right. It was working. BMO was clearly on a mission. The mission was functioning. He had the potatoes. He knew he was going to BMO. I guess BMO's not a he or a she. BMO, knew they were supposed to be going to Mars.
Yep.
Right. Was headed towards it successfully.
Was into it. Was like the mission was totally cool.
Nothing about that setup was revealed. That was the only unanswered question.
Which I like because it parallels at the end of Real Adventure Time where you get the final denouement other than BMO being the king of ooze. You get clearly launching that rocket into space with their creator.
Yep. Anyway.
Yeah, but
any other spoiler talk?
The Greys was interesting in the sense that when Tree Trunks is interacting with the Greys later and they're like trying to find a new homeworld, it is very clear that Elon Musk made the Greys turn him into an elf and then he basically fucked up their planet and left. Like there's a lot of catalyzing incidents that occurred in this.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, I mean, if you're writing for Adventure Time and you're a good writer, right? There's so many episodes and so much content. You can easily find a thing that happened in an Adventure Time episode, right? And then
weave it in.
Right. And
don't
use
even need
that,
to shine a spotlight on it. Just weave it in and let it be.
And you can treat it, if it hasn't been used already, it's like you can treat it as a starting point for whatever you're going to do. It's like, oh, that time that, it's like, okay, the Infinity Train episode, right? Well, you can write something about how that train got there, or, someone escaped the Infinity Train. It's like just like every episode is just like a fountain of ideas that you could go off into. So that's how they do.
A lot of these side characters in this definitely are echoes of unexplained characters from Adventure Time that showed up in a few episodes. Like you could take a parallel and like draw them, like put them both side by side for every character you see in this thing.
Well, and that's how you do the quality world building and the quality continuity. You don't do it the way that, Marvel DC Comics did or still do. I don't even know anymore. I haven't read a new one in a long time. Where it's like, if you didn't read all these different, if you didn't read Captain America and Spider-Man and this and that and the other thing, you won't understand what's going on in Secret Wars, right? It's instead just a world building thing where it's like you can watch any random Adventure Time episode or movie or whatever or comic and totally be entertained. But if you understand the whole world, right, there's just hints and things that will enrich any particular thing that you consume, with your additional knowledge, right? And each thing that they make, while simultaneously building on what already exists, also is creating more for future things to go on, right? It's like you watch this BMO thing, and now we've learned about this place, right? Well, now think about how many more stories you could write with all the new things that have been created here, right? You could write about those crab people. You could write about,
or when did those humans leave Earth? And like, what happened to them specifically? Did they become the bunny people, or the bunny people like the original had? Like, we don't know any of that.
Right. You can write about what Finn's dad was doing after this and before the other thing. You can write about what happened to the evil guy, the evil bunny guy. What's his deal?
I want to say that this is literally the specific reason Finn's dad was in space jail.
Yeah, probably. Maybe.
I feel like that is the exact sequence of events. Is he was taken to space jail shortly after the incidents of the show.
Quite possibly. You could write about, there's the non-Mo that was in the garbage area. Seago, right? You could write about that. There's all kinds of stuff going on there. It's just like, while taking the existing material, they've also created new fertile ground, right? Which may or may not be explored in the remaining 3 movies.
I feel like the 3 movies will not intersect with each other at all.
I also feel that way. I feel like they will all be standalone dealies.
Standalone. That's the Grable of this episode of Geek Nights.
Did you see the Grables that were on the?
Yes, I saw those.
I was like, those are fucking Grable people.
Yup.
Yep. Anyway.
All right. I think that was a fine show.